bag this size is standard, about 30 liters, and it'll fill approximately 10 trays for sprouting. And it also depends on the size of your trays, but you'll figure it out. You're basically just needing an inch of soil, and I'll show you what to do once you have your bags. Kind of like this. You can have delivered into your driveway. You can have multiple ones. If you have a huge spread up, you can get tons of them delivered onto your driveway. Simply just open them up into the bin down below here. And as you can see, I'm then going to break that soil up, and then it's ready to spread on the trays, and then we can plant. Ideally, between every batch of sprouts you're planting, you're sterilizing your trays in between. So this one may look like it's dirty, or that has bits left over from the last mat of sprouts that were in there, but it's been sprayed with approximately 10% hydrogen peroxide, food grade hydrogen peroxide. There's a difference between food grade and the stuff you can get at the pharmacy. So you'd have to go to either a garden shop or find a place online where you can purchase food grade hydrogen peroxide. You dilute it down if it needs to be to about 10%. So with a 35% H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide, you probably do 1 part of the hydrogen peroxide to 3 parts water, or even a little more, maybe 4 parts water. And then you lay it out and you'd spray it, and then you'd let it dry, and then you start working with it. And you don't want to get it on your hands, obviously, because it's still quite strong and it burns. So you basically then, once you have your soil all broken up, you just get a scoop about this size, which I don't have a specific measurement, but once it's in here, it's about 1 inch high of soil. And you're just going to get a bunch like that, dump it in, and spread it flat, breaking up any lumps that are still in there. Get it into all the corners. You're going to do this with all your trays, because if you're doing it 3 times a week, for instance, you're probably going to have a couple trays every day to do if you're just one person. If you're doing this for a whole family, you could have up to, depending on how many sprouts you want, you can have up to 10 trays a day, every other day, basically. So if you're doing that many, it becomes a larger job, of course. But you get into the habit of things, and then you take another tray, and you just lay on top, and you give it a few taps just to sort of pat it down so it's not too loose. You don't want it to get too firm either. And then you're ready to plant your seeds on top of that. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do the planting here for each of these 3 seeds. You'll just have to guess for the buckwheat. It's pretty simple. You just spread it out in the right proportion from what you planted in. It's going to be larger volumes. You have to take that into account. The seed swells up a bit. So with the sunflower seed, basically taking 1.5 cups roughly after it's been soaked and sprouted. That's about right. Once you have that on there, you're just going to lightly and gently spread it across, optimizing all available space. Don't want too many big clumps, but you don't want to leave too big of gaps. It's pretty simple, really. Just go to the edges, maybe take some from other places and move it around. Shouldn't take you too long. And once you have it, there's 1 tray planted basically, and then you just have to water it. I'm going to water all 3 after I've planted them. Then for the pea, you're going to do 1 large scoop of this, and this is 1 full scoop is 5 cups. This is a 4-cup bowl or pouring Pyrex glass thing, and so 5 cups will be right to the top. So we're just going to do 1 large scoop of the peas, and again spread them out, optimizing all available space, going right to the edges and corners specifically. You really want to be gentle with the tails, because if they break off, the sprout's done, and that seed is done for. It won't sprout. Start to grow a little baby. So you have to treat your seeds that have sprouted when you're planting them, and also through the rinsing process, like babies. You want to be very gentle with them. Keep them warm, of course. You don't want to leave them outside if it's going to frost at night. And regularly soak and rinse them, and then once you have them in here, you're going to be stacking them after you've soaked them, and that keeps them warm as well. The wheatgrass, it's not really specific amount. At least I wouldn't know what it was because I never use an amount. I eyeball it. So it's basically that much in a tray, and you just spread it out. And the thicker you go, the more possibility there is for mold, because there's not as much airflow to the bottom of the grass blade. But you don't want too thin either. This is a pretty thick. This is about as thick as you want to go. It'll give you a really nice yield though. And again, you want to be even gentler with the wheatgrass because it's even more delicate and fine once sprouted. And that's that. Take your water source and you soak them. Now once you've watered your sprouts, you have to stack them and cover them, and they stay covered and stacked for about 2 days until the wheatgrass on the top layer is starting to push the cover right off of itself. So the sunflowers definitely need a cover and weight on top of them. So you put that one on top, the whatever, could be buckwheat or pea, or it can be 2 or 3 layers of buckwheat or pea, or it can be another sunflower layer. But you always needs a certain amount of weight on top of the sunflower, and you don't want to go like 7 layers of trays up. But 3, 4, even 5 is doable and beneficial because they need weight, because that's what pushes the roots of the sunflowers down. And then you'll see by the second day they'll be up like this, and they'll all raise themselves up as they're starting to push the trays above them upwards. And an important thing to remember is you never want to cover the wheatgrass seeds with anything heavy. So you just put an empty tray on top that's definitely disinfected on the bottom side, because you want to minimize the possibilities of getting a mold cycle happening, because once your cycle of sprouts from week to week is hit by mold, it can be a bit difficult getting rid of that. It can be a hassle, almost like an infestation in a house of cockroaches or something. But if you're, for instance, you're just doing one type or another, and you don't have multiple trays to stack on it, say you just had sunflower and you need that weight, you just put an empty tray on top and you put books on top, or anything that's heavy enough but not too heavy to give it that pressure so that it starts poking up. And the reason they start poking up and pushing upwards is because it's like they're buried underground, they're trying to get to the light. So they need that certain resistance for them to grow and push upwards. And then of course once they're unstacked, you're going to have sort of a yellow, immature sprout that'll start to green up from the ambient light, and then another 2 days after that you're going to put it under fluorescent light for 4 to 5 days. So this is just an example of some in-between sprouts that are slightly yellow, starting to green up. They're not under fluorescent light yet. They're actually stacked on a homemade shelf so that they air out, start greening up, start growing. This is immature pea sprouts. You can see they're just starting to form, but they're not the ones that are on the ground stacked. This is what they look like after 2 days of being stacked. The grass is starting to poke up, but it's still very short, and the covers will come off later today. That's very short. That's pea, and the bottom layer is sunflower, and they're completely yellow. And then over here, this is an example of what it looks like I showed you before, where it's complete, it's finished. That's pea sprouts. And of course, finished sunflower is very beautiful, very green. And a thing to look for that you definitely know is done. I found a good example here. If you see here, it's just starting to get the tips poking out there, and that means it's done. You want to harvest at that point. Or they can get a little bigger, but you don't want them starting to go for the 4th leaf. Otherwise the nutrient density of the sprout is going down. Check out the links below for more information from top sprouting books I recommend to get some great sprouting accessories that make your sprouting easier, and also some sprouting seeds and other accessories if you're looking to bring this practice into your daily life. And it's so rewarding, and I really encourage you to do that. So check out those links and keep me posted on the results you're getting from bringing sprouts into your life.